Every story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
A very pleasant evening to you. Welcome to CoreTV Primetime News, reaching you live from our Lagos studios. I am Abosedi Omowi. Our top stories tonight. Many thanks for joining us. Now, the news in full. We'll begin this evening with event at the House of Representatives, where chant of all we are saying, Save Nigeria, rents the chamber as members of the House of Representatives resisted the admittance of the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachiku, into the chamber. It was so for some minutes, with all other legislative matters temporarily suspended. The minority leader, Leo Ogo, however, moved a motion to go into executive session, which was unanimously adopted by the House. Trouble started when the majority leader of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, moved the motion to suspend all other matters to admit into the chamber of the minister. The PDP caucus in the House unanimously kicked against his admittance with a resounding nay, but the Speaker overruled it. From then on, the chanting rented the chamber until it dissolved into the executive session. The House had called for an emergency session to look into the increase in fuel hike by the executive, and the minister was invited to come address the House on the palliative measures that the government has put in place to cushion the effect on the citizens. Still on happenings of the House of Representatives is constituting a 17-man committee to liaise with organized labor and its civil rights partners on the intended strike action over fuel price hike. The decision is a fallout of an interactive session with the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachiku, at a special plenary session on Monday. Moving on from there now, the Civil Liberties Organization, CLO, has appealed to the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, and Trade Union Congress, TUC, not to disappoint Nigerians again in the planned protest against the increase in the pump price of petrol. In a statement by its executive director, Ibuchukwu Ezike, the CLO says it is making the appeal in the aftermath of the 2012 Occupy Nigeria protest, where Labour disappointed its allies and all Nigerians. The CLO discloses that it has held consultation meetings with its members and affiliates nationwide, who were very keen in joining the protests to demand government action. And in a swift move, the recent decision by the federal government to announce a new price regime for premium motor spirit is one taken for the overall interest of Nigeria. The decision is also one that is taken as a measure to address the paucity of foreign exchange for importation of refined petroleum products. The Minister of Information, Culture and Tourism, Lai Mohammed, disclosed this while addressing the press on the state of the nation. Correspondent Kozem Kasali has more.
The decision by the federal government to increase the price of the premium motor spirit has pitched Nigerians against the federal government, with divergent opinions also expressed even within the Labour and civil society's coalition. But according to the Information and Culture Minister, The decision is one that is in the best interest of Nigeria and all Nigerians. He urges Nigerians to understand that the federal government has taken the decision with the highest sense of responsibility.
Now, you see, the truth of the matter is that Nigeria is in crisis, economic crisis. We must just accept it. We've lost over 60% of our earnings. But this, I can assure you, will not be for a short time.
He added that the federal government is working to ensure that the subsidy regime draining the nation's purse is permanently removed. The 2016 budget, according to the minister, does not make provision for subsidy, and so the new price regime is not a case of removing subsidy. He, however, assures all Nigerians that the new price regime will bring a lot of benefits to the country, especially the economy.
The main reason for this new price regime that the country does not have enough foreign exchange to open letters of credit for all those who want to import fuel.
Group General Manager, Public Affairs of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Garbadin Mohammed, also has this insight on why the decision is imperative to ensure that government at all levels have more funds to expand on social services and all-round development.
Thank you. The central reason for the increase of the policy that has been adopted is Forex. The unavailability of foreign exchange to finance the implementation of PMS, which has been borne by NNPC.
With the government having laid its card on the table, time will tell if Nigerians will take the promises and move on. Kazim Kasali, CoreTV News, Abuja.
And in spite of the pleas, the Nigeria Labour Congress and its counterparts, the Trade Union Congress Kaduna State Council, have called for an emergency meeting where they took a decision to embark on total strike on Wednesday to protest the increase in fuel pump price from 86 naira and 86 naira 50 kobo to 145 naira per litre by the federal government. Addressing journalists shortly after the meeting, the Kaduna State Chairman of the NLC, Adamu Ango, says the organized labor decided to fix the planned action for Wednesday for the federal government to reverse the increase, which it describes as harsh to the existence of the poor Nigerians. And moving on from there, the call by organized labor for a nationwide strike over the removal of fuel subsidy has been generating reactions from Nigerians. On our flagship program, Core Digest, analysts harp on the issue of labor agitations. Our correspondent has more.
Agitations beckon over the labor union planned nationwide strike on the removal of fuel subsidy. On our steamy flagship program, Core Digest, analysts task the economic team of the president to look into ways of ameliorating the challenges of Nigerians.
The economic team, have they sat down and look at the oil price that will bring in an equilibrium to the economy? The other day, the team went down as low as $28 per barrel. It's picking up. It's now above $40 per barrel.
But is a planned protest the right step in the right direction?
People you call the little workers and the casual workers are the people that are making things to move. Yeah. So there's nothing you can do, because now, if, like I said before, the airspace will be closed, the seaports will be closed, the port itself will be closed.
Callers also share their views.
After God now, it's only the MSC that can say something. And if MSC did not say anything now, that means all Nigeria accept the pay, and we have to suffer for it.
I need Nigerians to support Labour. Labour has been trying. It's a very clear situation. Whether you may take it a different way, that they're always coming to protest. If you acquire, government can try to do anything without feeling that there are people that are suffering under the area.
It is expectations of Nigerians that proper consultations should be made before implementing policies.
In another development, President Muhammadu Buhari today met briefly behind closed door with Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike. The meeting, which was held inside the President's office at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, did not last up to 30 minutes. Wike arrived for the meeting at about 2 p.m. and left a few minutes after. The agenda of the meeting was not made public. The governor also did not speak with State House correspondent at the end of the short meeting. While President Buhari belongs to the All Progressives Congress, Wike is a member of the People's Democratic Party. And moving on from there, former Niger Delta warlord Ateka Tom has warned the newly formed Niger Delta Avengers to stop causing more harm to the region through their criminal activities. Ateka, while condemning the activities of the Avengers, whom he described as desperate criminals, says no Niger Delta youth would support any criminal act in the region. He points out that attack on all installations would only bring pains and suffering to the people of the region. He notes that if the group continues with their criminal activities, it would once again expose women and children in the region to serious hardship. Ateka, however, discloses his readiness and willingness to offer assistance to the federal government to negotiate with the Avengers if the group is ready for peace. Still on security, Anambra State has tightened security around territorial borders with an aerial police helicopter surveillance to search out enclaves of Fulani herdsmen in forests and bushes. Addressing journalists today, Governor Willie Obiano says 6 camps of the herdsmen have been discovered at the neighboring borders, though without any threats to the peace of the state. He discloses that the leaders of the Hausa Fulani community in the state have been instructed to visit those blocks and find out the identities of the various groups and inform them of the existing agreement between cattle herders and host communities. Part of the agreement is a prohibition of the use of AK-47 by herdsmen and the payment of compensation when farmlands are destroyed by herdsmen or cattle killed by any community. Now to politics, the All Progressives Congress is urging Nigerians to be calm and hope for the best, despite present inconveniences to citizens as a result of the new petrol palm price of 145 naira per litre. At a forum in Lagos, members of the APC reiterate their loyalty to the party while advocating patience with the President Buhari-led administration, who they say means well for Nigeria. Victoria Solomon completes the story.
The new petrol pump price is being criticized by some and applauded by many Nigerians. The ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, attributes some present challenges facing the nation as indicative of the rot left by 60 years of the People's Democratic Party rule.
We came into power at the federal level when the situation of things is so bad. The economy is in the shambles. And what have you? And it is easy to destroy than construct.
In terms of the recent hike in fuel prices, all we can say is this: Nigeria should just watch before jumping into conclusion. This is an evil that has been following us all these years. That is the oil subsidy.
APC urges Nigerians to exercise patience with the present administration and hope for a better tomorrow.
They should just keep calm and let us continue to pray for this Buhari government to succeed. For this Buhari government to succeed, we must be very, very calm and look forward for a so-called time that is coming very soon.
Nigerians are likely to keep faith with the premises of the ruling APC, but how long more is what many might not be able to tell. Victoria Solomon, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Now, the People's Democratic Party has appointed its substantive board of trustees with Walid Jibrin as the acting chairman and Ojo Madueke as the secretary. Jibrin, upon his appointment, is urging all party members to renew their loyalty and show support in a bid by leaders to rebuild the party in order to reposition the PDP ahead of the 2019 general elections. The party, in its 51st board meeting, is appealing to the Buhari-led government to respect the rule of law in its fight against corruption. And now, President of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, is advocating the strengthening of the powers of the Economic Community of West African State Parliament to enable it foster closer integration of the sub-region. Saraki expressed this view at the occasion marking the convening of the first ordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament in Abuja. Correspondent Basil Okafo, who attended the event, brings us the report.
Members of the ECOWAS Parliament are here to deliberate on issues hampering the economic and political development of the sub-region. President of the Senate is insisting that if the Parliament is not given enough powers to perform, the dreams of greater integration of the member states may not be achieved. He believes that this may be responsible for the lack of adequate cohesion in the fight against terrorism, cross-border crimes, their trade agreements and protocols.
In recent times, we have seen the story of terrorism fall through and expose the weakness of our regional integration efforts, as our barriers stop and scramble to find a foothold for proper coordination of intelligence, resource mobilization.
Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament is also expressing optimism that the regional body will continue to pursue its noble objectives in spite of daunting challenges. Other members of the Parliament also believe that the recent clashes between herdsmen and farmers in Nigeria, who many believe are foreigners, will be a major item for discussion among the participants.
Our sub-region is like a borderless sub-region because the protocol guarantees free movement of persons, but not free movement of animals.
The 2016 first ordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament is expected to last from May 16 to 31st. Basil Okafo, CoreTV News, Abuja.
You're watching CoreTV Primetime News. Still ahead, the federal government and the contractors reach agreement on return to site for priority projects in the 2016 budget. Details after this break. Do join us again.
VAT, Value Added Tax, is a tax paid on all goods and services and remitted by the seller of the goods or provider of the service to government. 5% VAT is added to the total cost of goods and services in Nigeria, and when remitted to government, is used for funding development. The VAT you pay will be used by government to develop our transport infrastructure, like roads and railway lines, to continually improve our educational sector by building more schools and upgrading existing ones, to provide adequate security and a better quality of life for us all. Pay your VAT. Make your contributions to the development of Nigeria. It pays to pay your tax. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service.
Glad to have you back, and if you're just joining us, you're watching CoreTV Primetime News broadcasting live from our Lagos studios. Let's take another look at our top stories. For more on our top stories, all the news and information, kindly visit our social media platforms. Facebook.com/CoreTV News. We urge you to follow on our Twitter handle @CoreTV News NG. And to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV Space News. It is good news for the construction industry as the federal government and contractors have reached an agreement on return to site for priority projects in the 2016 budget. The meeting also rose with a resolution to ensure that all other projects will be given due attention before the end of the year. Cousin Kasali, who was at the meeting between the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing and highway contractors, has more.
With the 2016 budget signed and the release of funds now being expected, the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing has convened a meeting with highway contractors handling projects that have stalled over time. In his opening remarks, Minister of Power, Works and Housing, who was flanked by the Minister of State, Power, Works and Housing, Mustafa Babashehuri, and the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Abubakar Magaji, disclosed that the federal government is adopting an open-door policy to ensure the completion of all road projects.
Construction, labor,
materials, cement, water, gravel, granite. And so we hope that when we disburse these monies, they will go right to where they should go, back to work.
After the meeting with the contractors, the Permanent Secretary Works and Housing, Abubakar Magaji, briefed the waiting pressmen on the outcome of the meeting.
The contractors will also go back to site, re-engage all workers that they have laid up, and also commit to improve standard on road furniture. These road furnitures are mild sign and all signs related to road networks.
Some of the contractors have this to say on their take on the meeting.
The minister has reassured us about the budgetary provisions which we have been seeing in the news. The ministry has assured us also that they are now ready for disbursements.
We contractors also should join hands with them so that the achievement of having motorable roads all over the country can be attained.
We will go ahead back to site, and we will see what is missing and what is, and we will improve. And we start from fresh-minded on quality and safety, and that will be our target.
The release of funds for project is expected in the next few days. Kazim Kasali, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Lagos State government has earmarked 36 billion naira for the construction of 18 groins that sea breakers that will help address the challenges of ocean surge between Goshen Estate and Alpha Beach in Lekki area of the state. The State Commissioner for Waterfront Infrastructure Development, Adebowale Akinsoya, says each of the groins would be constructed at a cost of 2 billion naira along the entire length of 7.5 kilometers. He says the project was awarded in November 2012 and divided into 3 phases for funded reasons. Akinsoya also discloses that the state government has approved the development of 3 islands in the state, which are Diamond, Orange, and Gracefield Phoenix projects. Governors of Northwest states say they would collaborate closely with stakeholders, including organizations involved in regional integration, to boost agriculture in the area. Rising from a meeting which focused on development of agriculture in the region in Kaduna, the governors say they are working on measures that would ensure food security for the people of the area.
Briefing newsmen after the meeting, chairman of the forum, who is also the governor of Katsina State, says closer collaboration among all stakeholders and regional integration is key ingredients for the expansion and sustenance of agricultural activities in the area. According to him, working together will ensure access to finance and improvement of infrastructure that will support this sector. Masari says the Northwest has comparative advantages in key areas and will seek to exploit them for the development of the region and its people.
Structures that will actualize the dreams of the people of Northwest. We receive a briefing from CBN, from NEXIM, and from Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, and others.
Also, the Kaduna State Governor says the Northwest region has advantage with cash crops like wheat, rice, tomato, and onions. Others have such advantages with crops like ginger, cotton, maize, and other cereal crops. He says all the resources in the region, when put together, will pull investments and promote avenues of access to finance, adding that the sector will be transformed and its real value will come to the fore.
Do whatever it takes to improve the lot of our people. And I am sure, I'm confident with the commitment of my colleagues, the governors, will make a difference this time around.
The meeting was attended by governors of Sokoto, Katsina, Kebbi, Jigawa, Kano, Kaduna, and Deputy Governor of Zamfara State. Also in attendance were commissioners for agriculture, permanent secretaries, and directors of agricultural services from states in the region.
Now to Benue State, where the governor, Samuel Otom, has signed the 2016 budget of 150.7 billion naira into law. While signing the budget, the governor promises to provide conducive atmosphere for the House of Assembly to operate. He discloses that for the purpose of checks and balances, the executive arm of government would prefer a situation where the judiciary and the legislature will operate independently, but emphasizes that synergy would bring about faster development. Otom says his administration would ensure that provisions of the budget, which has recurrent and capital expenditure of 66.592 billion naira and 84.148 billion naira respectively, would be strictly complied with. Now, the high rate of drug abuse in internally displaced persons camps in the northeast is on the increase and becoming worrisome. Wife of Niger State Governor Amina Bello, on a tour of some camps, discloses that the mental health of displaced Nigerians is being neglected. Niger State First Lady also seeks government intervention to check the trend.
The governor's wife says government officials should give special preference to people in the internally displaced persons camp. She is advising youths and women to deviate from abusing this substance as they are capable of causing mental disorder. She says many victims of drug abuse find it hard to be identified due to religion and cultural issues.
Issue of substance abuse has been a taboo, and mostly because of cultural, as far as I know in the north, cultural taboos that do not allow people to discuss drug abuse openly has further aggravated this problem.
A consultant psychiatrist speaking on the need for government officials to pay attention to internally displaced persons says a large number of them are exposed to the use of drugs and engage in high level of prostitution, adding that the IDP camps have become centers for illicit activities, including drug use.
Then if you have programs about sexual education, sexual abuse, again, if you've been abused, you've been paranoid, thinking, if I go to that meeting, does it feel like I'm owning up to the fact that I've been abused?
A resident in one of the IDP camp emphasized the need for adults and children in the camp to desist from taking substance drugs, calling itself on government to curb the problem of unemployment, as this helps in promoting the use of drugs. The government should seek for means of rehabilitating drug addicts and prevent stigmatization in the society.
Still on health matters, civil society groups in the country are calling on the federal government to increase its domestic funding to HIV/AIDS in order to avoid dependency on international donors. The coordinator, Healthcare Foundation, Adetayo Fowolawi, says the funding will strengthen the civil society organization to effectively serve as a watchdog for grant implementation and to promote accountability. Kikelamo Okere has more.
United Nations AIDS says if the patterns of stagnant funding persist on HIV treatment and services are not scaled up rapidly by 2020, it could result in 20 million deaths and additional 28 million people becoming infected with HIV by 2030. Country Director, AIDS Healthcare Foundation says a timely scale-up of funding of AIDS, TB and malaria would yield a 15-fold return on investment. Is therefore calling on Germany, Japan and China to increase their pledge towards the Global Fund.
We already know the impact of Global Fund on the world's 3 most deadly diseases, HIV, TB and malaria.
Nigeria has 24% of global burden on malaria, 9% on HIV, with people lacking access to treatment and half of the people whose condition are not being given adequate attention.
To those who are stealing our money, to those who are complacent in their oversight functions, we are saying enough is enough. We won't take any of that again. The media, you have to ensure that you are a partner in this issue.
The Global Fund program started in Nigeria in 2003 and up to now, Nigeria has been awarded about $1.3 billion, which has been instrumental in providing HIV care for about 750,000 people, TB treatment for 310,000 and mosquito net 93.4 million people. Kikelomo Okere, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Talking education now, the University of Ilorin says no fewer than 108 fresh students of the institution were expelled for gaining admission through dubious means. The institution's Vice-Chancellor, Abdulganiyu Ambali, disclosed this in Ilorin while speaking with the Commissioner of Police in Kwara, Sam Okaula. He discloses that due to stable academic calendar and culture of excellence prevalent in the university, the pressure to secure admission into the institution was high, which resulted in some candidates seeking illegal and unauthorized ways to gain admission into the university. Ambali assures the Commissioner of the university's continuous cooperation by readily offering the police useful information required in the course of your work. And let's take another break now. When we return, we'll bring you a report from outside Nigeria and from sports. Do stay with us.
VAT, Value Added Tax, is a tax paid on all goods and services and remitted by the seller of the goods or provider of the service to government. 5% VAT is added to the total cost of goods and services in Nigeria, and when remitted to government, is used for funding development. The VAT you pay will be used by government to develop our transport infrastructure, like roads and railway lines, to continually improve our educational sector by building more schools and upgrading existing ones, to provide adequate security and a better quality of life for us all. Pay your VAT. Make your contributions to the development of Nigeria. It pays to pay your tax. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service.
Welcome back. You're still watching CoreTV Primetime News, broadcasting live from our Lagos studios. Now, with reports from beyond the country, world powers say they are ready to lift an arms embargo on Libya and equip the unity government in its fight against the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, ISIL, also known as ISIS, and other groups. The joint decision, announced by United States Secretary of State John Kerry, followed a meeting in Vienna, which was attended by diplomats from more than 20 countries. The United States, 4 other permanent UN Security Council members, and the more than 15 other nations participating in talks on Libya say they are ready to respond to the Libyan government request for training and equipping government forces. The conference was co-chaired by Kerry and his Italian counterpart, Paolo Gentiloni. The plan to arm the internationally backed government invariably means that it is unlikely to face significant opposition from any quarter. In the meantime, Turkish and United States-led coalition forces have struck Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, ISIL, also known as ISIS, targets north of the Syrian city of Aleppo, killing at least 27 fighters. Reports say Turkish artillery and rocket launchers fired into Syria while warplanes from the US-led coalition carried out 3 separate air campaigns. 5 fortified defense posts and 2 gun posts were also destroyed in the attack, less than 10 kilometers from Turkish-Syria border. Turkish and coalition forces have carried out a series of such strikes recently to prevent further attacks on the Turkish border town of Kilis, which lies just across the frontier from ISIL-controlled territory in Syria and has been regularly struck by rockets in recent weeks. Meanwhile, British Prime Minister David Cameron has refused to retract comment describing United States presidential candidate Donald Trump's proposed Muslim ban as divisive, stupid, and wrong. His spokesman, Dan York-Smith, discloses that Cameron is, however, committed to maintaining special relationship with the United States no matter who wins the presidential election. Cameron's latest comment came in response to Trump's interview during a broadcast show this morning. In the interview conducted in New York, Trump says it looks like they're not going to have a very good relationship. And in other reports from outside Nigeria, Afghanistan's capital, Kabul, is in lockdown as members of an ethnic minority group stage protests over the proposed route of a power line. Thousands of Hazara demonstrators took to the streets of Kabul to march towards the presidential palace, demanding a 500-kilometer transmission line to be routed through Burman province, large Hazara population. The so-called two-tap line was originally due to pass through Bamiyan, but the government decided to reroute it through the Salang Pass north of Kabul, saying the shorter route would save money. Demonstrators say the chosen route for the transmission line is a discriminatory move against Hazaras. One of the protest organizers, Ali Amir, pointed out that their provinces have never seen development. Let's now bring you some sports reports.
Power style, and that's what he delivered.
Sports at this time, Enugu Rangers cling on to top spots in the Nigeria Professional Football League (NPFL), having recorded a 4-1 win over Ikorodu United in their match day 17 clash at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in Enugu State. The Flying Antelopes have endured a bad patch in Sunday to consolidate on the #1 position on the NPFL log. Apologize for that. Francis Nedum got the first goal for Rangers on Sunday in the 11th minute. Tokpe Olushesi increased the lead for the host after combining well with Chisom Egbuchulam. Rangers were 3 goals up in the 21st minute as Olushesi completed his brace, but Moses Ebiye pulled one back for Ikorodu United barely 2 minutes after. With a win, Rangers have 31 points from 17 games. In other centers, Shooting Stars' poor season continues as they were whitewashed 4-0 in Bauchi by Wiki Tourist. The Oluyole Warriors are now deeper in the relegation waters as they are now 3rd from the bottom. In Kano, Pillars were forced to a barren draw, while Abia Warriors and Aqua United both secured lone goal wins over Rivers United and Nasarawa United, respectively. And in other sports reports, the Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, has announced that the president of the Federation of International Football Associations, FIFA, Gianni Infantino, will visit Nigeria in June. A statement issued in Abuja by NFF's Assistant Director of Communications, Ademola Olajire, says the visit is a fallout of NFF President Amaju Pinnick's recent meeting with Infantino in Mexico. Olajire says during the visit, the FIFA president would visit President Muhammadu Buhari, meet corporate Nigeria, Horde of African FA resident, and also attend the final of the NFF Zenith Bank Future Eagles Championship. Olajire also adds that Infantino believes that Nigeria is a big country and a massive football playing nation that should help with the new FIFA leadership's drive to truly develop the game. Well, that's it on sport and on CoreTV Primetime News. But before we go, let's take a quick recap of our top stars. Well, that's it on CoreTV Primetime News. Thank you so much for watching. On behalf of everyone here, do have a pleasant night rest. I am Abosedi Omowi.